So, folks, as we do here every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., without further ado, let's go to our newsmaker line. And we are so honored to have a young man that is making things happen. He was a two-time honorable mention All-ACC defensive lineman at Duke University, among the all-time sack leaders and tackles, signed a free agent contract with the Miami Dolphins, and spent some time here with the Washington football team on their practice squad. But more importantly, he's in his second season as a grad assistant coach for the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. And last but not least, he was a 2005 finalist for the Watkins Award. He is Vince Olgabaase. Hey, Vince, good morning. And thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your national championship.
Thank you very much, but it's been an awesome journey for us in the Buckeyes, man. I greatly appreciate the welcome. Happy to be on live radio with you all, and let's talk, man. There's been a lot of stuff to talk about this morning.
No question. Vince, I want to start off, if someone had told you during your spring practice, now I know you're Ohio State, you've got the great legendary Urban Meyer as your head coach. You've got deep depth. You've got deep depth. But if someone had said, Coach, you're going to lose your first string quarterback, your second string quarterback, and you're down to your third string quarterback, but yet you would win a national championship, what would you have said?
I mean, it doesn't happen like that at all. You know, it does not happen like that. You know, nobody would ever thought that would happen to us, and the way we came out on top, it was just a testament to our journey, to our players, the work ethic, and they never gave up on Cardell, never gave up on JT. It's just, you know, when one guy goes down, the next man has to step up and fill the spot. And that's what we preach every day to our players. When your number's called, you got to be ready to go. Mm-hmm. So, no, it's just a testament to what we believe as a program, as a university, and as a football team. You're always ready to go when your number's called.
You know, there's an old saying, as you're aware of, it's better to have more than have less. Having said that, Vince, looking ahead, is there room for all three of these guys to return next season?
That's been the question of the hour, you know, and luckily I don't have to coach that position. And when that time comes for Coach Tim Beck to make the decision, and Coach Barr make the decision, that'll be on them. But you know, there's always room for anybody to play on our roster, especially those three guys who have done an incredible job for the Buckeyes to provide stability, great leadership, explosiveness to our offense. So when the time comes for any one of those guys stepping for the play for the Buckeyes, I'm pretty sure all three of them will be ready. But again, that's not my decision to make, and I'm not going to get into that discussion. That's Coach Tim Beck and Urban Meyer to decide.
But that is a great problem to have if we continue our conversation with Vince Olgabaase, assistant grad coach, defensive line coach with Coach Johnson at Ohio State. Vince,
yes,
Vince, let's talk about you a bit. Coming from the Houston area, now we here in the DMV, that's the District, Maryland, and Virginia, we take great pride in our athletic history, our athletic legacy, Dave Bing, Elgin Baylor, Willie Wood, Adrian Dantley, just to name a few. But the Houston area is not too shabby as well, with George Foreman and Roger Clemens and Zena Garrison and people like that. Talk about how that athletic legacy had an influence on you as a youngster.
Well, I mean, coming up, raised in the Houston area, you know, there's a wealth of talent all across Houston. And looking up to those guys, like you said, Zena Garrison, George Foreman, those guys. I mean, Zena, that lady, and George Foreman. Those are the ones who have done it before us. And looking past that, you know, I was a guy who was always kind of self-driven, always a self-starter, and I've always looked at guys who did it right before me. So not just guys that grew up in Houston, but guys all around the nation who was doing it right and going about this stuff the right way. I've always wanted to make sure that I put myself in a place to be successful like the ones before me, to make sure I'm doing the right thing, to make sure I'm bringing the correct guys along with me, to make sure that, you know, not only myself being successful, but I'm bringing somebody along with me as well.
Speaking of doing the right thing, you were the epitome, the exhibit A, so to speak, of a student athlete. Talk
Right.
about how your parents or someone molded the importance of being a student first and then an athlete, because you graduated from high school with a 3.9 GPA, and that's Hastings High School in Houston to be exact. Talk about who laid that foundation of academics first and then athletics.
Well, my father, my father's from Nigeria. One of the things that he pressed into me and my sister at an early age is always make sure you take care of your academics first, because he's a very, very bright guy himself. He wanted to make sure that at all costs, whenever you lose your limbs, your body, your brain is always one that's going to work for you. So as a child, we took that and ran with it. I knew that I always wanted to be a great football player, a great student in middle school, high school, and in college. So I had to make sure I put the correct time into both of those arenas to make sure that I can, do both and be successful at it. So it was really my father, my mom, and also my sister pushing me along the way, because it wasn't easy at all. Especially making that transition from high school to college, which I admittedly I struggled with my first semester, but just going back to my foundation. You have to put the correct amount of time aside for both of them to make sure that you're doing the right things to be successful. So after I got to that rough phase in my first semester in college, I really sat down and checked my own self to make sure, how did I get to where I'm at now? Don't change what I've been doing. Make sure I keep on doing what I have been doing to get to where I'm at now. So my father was a great influence on me in my academics and my football career.
Vince Olgabaase is our guest this segment on In and Out of Sports with the coach Butch McAdams, heard every Sunday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the legendary 1450 a.m. WOL. And Vince, we've got about a minute and a half on this side, and I want to carry you over, but you said something that it was a tough transition from high school to college from an academic standpoint. Briefly, for our younger listeners, what advice would you give them to maybe ease their transition academically and maybe culturally as well from high school to college?
Well, in my situation particularly, I graduated high school early in the December of 2004, and I enrolled into Duke University in the spring of 2005. So my transition, my matriculation time was a lot faster than it would have been had I enrolled in the fall of 2005. So, I was kind of that last semester in high school. I've already completed everything. I've done my requirements, so it was a much more easier semester for me than going into Duke that spring of 2005. I just got overwhelmed with, classes all over again. So it was just, went from smooth to bang, back in class again. So, anybody that's in that situation where they're graduating high school early and enrolling in college a semester early, I would tell them to, make sure you sit down with your academic advisor, whoever's giving you your advice on those classes, to make sure it's a classes where you can transition into very easily. Because I myself wanted to be a mechanical engineer going into college, and that's what they let me do. They let me get into those classes. Mm-hmm. I wasn't quite ready for those classes, admittedly, but after I realized, okay, I'm not ready for these classes. What can I do to make sure I help this transition out? They put me in the correct classes and made me sit down with tutors, all the help I needed, and they helped smooth out the adjustment phase. Mm-hmm. So basically, you got to make sure because a lot of kids go into college saying they want to do this or want to do that, but in actuality, you really don't know until you get there, sit in the classroom, listen to the professors, and see what it is that you want to do. Some people have a good outlook on what they want to do, but you truly don't know until you actually get in those situations. So mm-hmm. I would say for anybody going to college, don't be so set on one thing. Just make sure you get there and look at the different options they have. There's a lot of great majors in all these colleges and universities around. But so make sure you do what
Hold it right there, Vince. Hold it right there. Stay with us. More on the other side. We're so honored and pleased to have. He is the Watkins Award finalist of 2005, currently a graduate assistant coach for the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. He is Vince Olgabaase. More from Vince Olgabaase on the other side. This is In and Out of Sports with the coach, Butch McAdams, on the great 1450 AM. We are WOL.
News updates on the web at WOLDCnews.com.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends.
In biology,
In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes
In
me.
biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today,
The only thing I didn't learn today
the only thing I didn't learn
Is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I am your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Welcome, NBA fans. Tonight, NBA
Man, nothing beats seeing an NBA game in person. Hey, buddy, thanks again for driving. So, where are our seats?
Oh, we're sitting right around the corner. Hey, but before we do anything, let me stop for a second at the designated driver booth and make the pledge.
Excuse me, sir. Did you say designated driver?
Yeah, I'm the designated driver tonight.
Congratulations. You are a winner. And for being the designated driver and always buckling up, every trip, every time, you have won the adoration of your friends and family who will get home safely from the game.
Cool.
Your prize also includes the gratitude of all of the drivers on the road who won't have to fear for their lives. And finally, you've won the chance to follow your favorite NBA team to the NBA Finals because responsibility has its rewards.
Woo, yeah.
To find out more, visit the designated driver booth at the arena or visit rhir.org. A message from this station and Team Coalition.
Our lives are affected every day by innovations from the minds of African Americans. Support the United Negro College Fund because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Visit uncf.org or call 1-800-332-UNCF. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
News Talk 1450 WOL is everywhere you are at WOLDCnews.com.
You're listening to In and Out of Sports with the coach, Butch McAdams, heard every Sunday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on 1450 a.m. of the great WOL. But you can listen to us on the worldwide net, and that's WOLDCnews.com. Let's go back to our newsmaker line, and we're so pleased to have the graduate assistant coach, two-time honorable mention All-ACC player from Duke University. He is the assistant line coach at Ohio State University, the national champion Buckeyes. He is Vince Olgabaase. And Vince, let's talk about the alliance, the National Alliance of African American Athletes. Talk about what that meant for you and being a finalist for the Watkins Award in 2005.
Well, it all started with a packet that Mr. Everett Pearsall sent out to me and my folks way back in 2004, I believe. You know, we didn't know very much about the Alliance and the Watkins Award, but it was a packet full of information. We had to write an essay, fill out a little bio, and send it back to him. Just kind of doing our due diligence. So send it back to Mr. Everett Pearsall and his team, and we got word back that I was going to be one of the founders. So that's when we knew it was serious. So start doing more research on the Watkins Award and the history and how it came to be. And it's really, truly a prestigious award. And it's something that's very special that's dear to me and a lot of other guys before me and after me. Back in 2005, when we had the ceremony in Charlotte, North Carolina, it was one of the most special events I've ever been a part of because, I have been recognized for, I've always recognized for my athletic prowess on the field. But, I'm saying, when you truly recognize somebody for their athletic talents and their academic